Good afternoon and welcome to our virtual parent orientation program. We are so happy to have you join us for our Ask Us Anything panel with our 4 Seton Hall experts. I am Karen Van Norman, Associate Vice President and Dean of Students, and I'll be your moderator for today. Please enter any questions that you have into the chat function and I will pose as many as we have time for to our panelists. We will also have colleagues live responding to individual questions. Any questions that we do not have time to answer during this session will be turned into an FAQ list and posted with answers to our Planning for Fall 2020 website. You can access that by clicking on the top banner of the main page of the university website. I also want to mention that all of our sessions today will be recorded and posted to the parent orientation site for viewing later within the next 2 weeks. So that will be a helpful reference to you as well. Okay, let's meet our panel of experts. There is no one better to begin with today than our Associate Vice President and Chief of Staff for Student Services, Dr. Monica Burnett. Dr. Burnett has a wide breadth of experience in overseeing many aspects of your students' experience outside of the classroom, ranging from housing and residence life, to student engagement, to academic support services. So I'm very happy to introduce to you a most valued colleague, Dr. Monica Burnett.
Thank you so much, Dean Van Norman. On behalf of the Division of Student Services, thank you parents for being here. We're very much looking forward to meeting you and your student very soon. We cannot wait to welcome them into the Seton Hall family. My name is Monica Burnett and I'm the Associate VP of Student Services. I've worked at Seton Hall for almost 7 years and I also received my doctorate here. I can truly say that Seton Hall is a home for the heart, mind, and spirit. I'm also originally from California, so if your students need advice on how to prepare for Northeast winters or talk about Bay Area sports, please let me know. So our division is responsible for the lives of your students outside of the classroom, including areas of academic success, like tutoring and career services, well-being and support, including counseling and health services, student engagement, including student activities, safety and security, and campus inclusion and community. We see our parents as partners in this developmental process and experience for your students. As we plan for the fall 2020, the health and well-being of our students and the entire community is paramount. Many of the plans and decisions that we are exploring are determined by government guidelines and directives on how to move forward. So as we continue with the program today, I'm excited to share with you our goal to build a robust and dynamic student experience for your students throughout the summer and also through the fall. So after Pirate Adventure that takes place this week, we'll begin a series of virtual orientation and student engagement opportunities for your students. Now I'm happy to introduce our Associate VP of Student Services and Dean of Freshman Studies, Robin Cunningham, who oversees our academic success areas.
Thank you, Monica. My name is Robin Cunningham, and I'm happy to be the Dean of Freshman Studies. We've been meeting with some of your students perhaps last week and currently this week to help them get registered for the fall. In the Department of Freshman Studies, your students will have met their first year advisor and also their peer advisor. And these are the first 2 people on campus that will be their immediate support person. So students who have questions about their courses, any kind of academic advisement, the concerns that they may have over commuting or living in a residence hall, Freshman Studies is really their first stop. I have been at Seton Hall a very long time. I'm an alum, and I've worked there for actually over 30 years now. So I guess some people call me a lifer, but Seton Hall is a very special place. And all of us on this panel this morning are here to share with you what makes Seton Hall such an important stop for your students and for you. And now I'd like to introduce the Director of Financial Aid, Javonda Asante.
Thank you, Robin. Hi, I'm Javonda Asante, Director of Financial Aid. I have an office of 14 hardworking individuals. Our goal is to help you in the beginning all the way through to graduation, because that is the goal. I have been at Seton Hall for 20 years. I have 2 children that's graduated from Seton Hall, one that is a freshman, just finished freshman year, and one is in 8th grade. So I have been through the gamut, and we're here for you. Just know that um, I would like to throw it to Winston Roberts, Associate Dean.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome, Pirate Parents. My name is Winston Roberts. I'm the Associate Dean of Students here at Seton Hall University. I've been at this institution now for 12 years. I know I look it. I oversee student conduct, alcohol and other drug education, as well as sexual violence prevention, as well as housing and residence life. I also coach the women's club volleyball team here. So if there's one thing your students eventually may say to you is, man, I am tired of seeing Dean Roberts. But that is to their benefit, as I am also one of the resources that your students will come across during their time here at Seton Hall University. So I welcome you again as Pirate Parents, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay, let's get started with some questions. Let me start by asking each of you something that I know from your work with our students or what I know about you personally. And with that, Dr. Burnett, I would like to ask you something that I know from your work both as a university administrator as well as from you personally. I know that you have a nephew in college whom you are very close to. So from your experience as both a university administrator, but also from being close to a young man in college, what advice would you have for parents who are with us today about the conversations that they might want to have with their student between now and before their student begins college in August?
Absolutely. So my nephew, Ben, is starting as a freshman in college in California. And one of the things that I always tell him is to really utilize his resources. So one goal in our Division of Student Services is to really create a premier student experience that is equitable and consistent and really supports student success. So we want to help our students become independent thinkers and learners and help them to develop a home at Seton Hall for the mind, heart, and spirit. So whether that be in the classroom or in the residence hall, in the relationship with faculty and friends and mentor, or their growth and development towards their career path, we really want college to be a transformational process for them as they become young adults. So three big pieces of advice that I would share for parents to share with their students is, number one, try as much as possible to encourage them to get involved academically and socially, meeting new people, trying new things, getting outside their comfort zone, learning more about themselves. These are all really great pieces of advice for new college students because there's plenty of opportunities for students to become engaged in their college experience. The second is to ask for help. So as I mentioned, our division really encompasses a vast array of support services and resources for your students. So from academic tutoring to first year academic and career advising, student engagement, wellness and support services. We have many professionals that are equipped to help, but it's really up to your student to ask for help when they need it early and often. And the third is, as we move into the fall 2020 semester, health and safety is on all of our minds, and college this fall is going to look different. So we really need your help as parents to talk to your students about health and safety as it pertains to the global pandemic. We have several committees working to ensure the health and safety of our community, but we're asking students to really, work with us and to partner with us so that we can really keep our community as safe as possible this fall.
Thank you, Dr. Burnett. Dean Cunningham, you've worked with a lot of students and a lot of parents over the years. And from what you have seen, what would you say is the biggest adjustment that parents should expect their students are going to need to make between high school classes and college courses?
I think the biggest adjustment is watching your student become more independent. And although it might be difficult to watch them taking that growth step to become more autonomous, it really is necessary for them to get the most out of their college experience. I speak to our freshmen all the time, and they mention that, especially in senior year of high school, it becomes more casual. They know their teachers very well. They know all their classmates. They're very, very comfortable, especially in that last year of high school. But then they come to college, and it's a whole new experience. They have to get to know their professors. They have to learn new study habits. They have to get to know their classmates better. So although they may go through some growing pains at the beginning of their freshman year, it's important for the parent to let them go through it. Let them experience their new opportunities on their own, because we need them to become more self-directed. You know, they won't be as reminded of every assignment that they have, or a professor might not want to say, you know, don't forget to read your syllabus every day. Don't forget to read your syllabus tonight. Don't forget about the deadline next week. Students need to become more independent, and although there might be some growing pains in the beginning of the semester, I promise that if you let them go through it and fend for themselves at Seton Hall, they will learn from it, and they'll become stronger individuals, and they'll become stronger students as the semester goes on. So I would just say, try to be patient, understand they might stumble a little bit in the beginning of the semester, but there's a lot of resources here for us to support them, and they'll learn from it, and they'll be stronger for it.
Thank you, Dean Cunningham. Ms. Asante, what advice do you have for parents as they get ready for the tuition bills that are going to be sent out next month?
Thank you, Karen. The advice I would have is, the first thing that comes to mind is to breathe. I think that's self-explanatory. Once you've taken that breath, you need to, if you have a financial aid award letter, I would say review that award letter, because that would give you the direct costs separate from the indirect costs. So it'll give you the idea of what to expect to pay. Then you need to think about what your strategy is going to be. Whether you're going to use your 529 plan, if that exists, savings, or you can go into the payment plan. Just know, if you are going into the payment plan in July, that means there are 4 payments left, because the payment plan ends in October. So if you owe $10,000 for the fall, that's $2,500 each month for 4 months. If that is not what you can do, then you might want to do a parent loan. The parent loan is in the parent's name. There's a 10-year repayment, and on $10,000, the average monthly payment is $150 a month. Or you might opt to do a private loan. The private loan can be in the student's name. You would most likely need to co-sign. But I think the point of it all is there are different options, and what you do in the freshman year can be something, you do something different in the sophomore year. So nothing's set in stone, but we are here to go over these options if need. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asante. Dean Roberts, would you share a little bit about what resources on campus you think parents should know about?
Of course. Your student will have a number of high quality resources at their disposal while here at Seton Hall University. Your student success is most important to us, and we understand that in order for them to meet that success, your students will need to have access and to be supported by those campus resources. So yes, if your student needs emotional support, our licensed professionals at CAPS, which is our Counseling and Psychological Services office, are there to support your student. If your students need spiritual support, our priest community and campus ministry are located on campus just for that reason. You know, whether your student needs help academically, which Dean Cunningham mentioned, there are multiple layers that exist on our campus to support your students, whether it be from freshman studies or even all the way up to our academic resource center. Your student wants to get connected to the institution outside of the classroom, clubs, organizations, and other program opportunities are all there waiting for your student to connect. But one of the things that Dr. Burnett mentioned was making sure that you empower your students to seek these resources out when they are needed. It's oftentimes that a student may struggle in that transition, but that's why we have these resources on our campus. And we encourage you as parents to make sure that when your student comes to you and they may say, hey, I'm struggling with this, one of the questions that you ask them is, who did you speak with? Did you go see your mentor? Did you go see your peer advisor? Or even one of us at the Dean of Students office? We are all here and ready to assist your students as resources on the campus. I can go on and on because there is a multitude of other resources that our campus has, from health services to our career center. But I think you get the idea that, you know, we're all in when it comes to your student success and providing that support for your student. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Roberts. Okay, let's move to some of the questions that we're getting from our parents. Dr. Burnett, you mentioned this in your opening remarks, and we're getting some questions about the university's plans for the fall semester, particularly around safety and our plans related to the coronavirus. So could you talk about some of the steps that the university is taking in terms of keeping students safe as it relates to COVID-19?
Absolutely. So the university has done quite a bit of planning in terms of keeping our students safe for the fall. We have currently a reopening operations team that meets daily and at least twice a week to review state and federal guidance on rules and regulations. The team is comprised of members from facilities to housing and residence life, information technology, academic affairs, and health services. We also are working on a communication plan to follow the appropriate guidelines and make sure the information is also up to date and shared on our website. So currently, you know, our plans include a great deal of education as well. We are working on what we are calling the Seton Hall Pledge for all of our community members, which include safety precautions in ways where students can protect themselves, others, and the campus community. So these include monitoring symptoms daily before coming to campus, washing hands well and often, following all medical directions regarding diagnosis or exposure, contact tracing, staying at home if they're sick, keeping physical distancing, wearing face coverings or masks, and observing the rules and regulations that we're going to put forward to keep the community safe. So again, you know, we can't emphasize enough that this is a shared responsibility. So as much as you can as parents, you know, help to encourage the health and safe behaviors for our students. We really want to make sure that students are really a part of this process. So we're working to finalize these protocols for the Seton Hall community, and we will share more information on our website very soon.
Thank you, Dr. Burnett. Dean Cunningham, switching over to academics for a moment, we have a question from a parent about daughter being undecided. If my daughter is undecided in her major, how can she take classes to find out what she's interested in?
That's a great question, and we do welcome any of our students who are not yet quite sure about their major. I think that's a good thing. So that means that they're open-minded. So you know, Seton Hall is a Catholic liberal arts institution, and we have 3 major requirements to graduate. We have the credits in a student's major, we have the credits in the college core, and then we have electives. So every semester we want students to be full-time, of course, if they can be full-time. So they're between 15 and 18 credits. And between those 15 and 18 credits, they should have at least 1 or 2 of the 3 things I mentioned. They'll have a course or 2 in their major, they'll have a course or 2 in their college core requirement, and they might have an elective. So students who are undeclared, they're not quite sure yet what they want to major in, there's room within those 15 to 18 credits to explore other things. Every college has a liberal arts core that includes histories, sciences, theology, world history, foreign language, oral comm. We also have, as I mentioned, a large group of electives, and these are classes that count towards graduation, but they're not required for a particular major. So in conversation with the student's first-year advisor, they would talk about how the student's just not quite sure yet of what direction they want to go, and the first-year advisor would be able to give that student options about what to follow their interests. They have a conversation about, well, what are your hobbies? What are things you like to do? Do you have a part-time job? How do you like to spend your free time? You know, what are the options? What might you be thinking about as a major? And then the first-year advisor would be able to direct the student to courses that would be connected to their interests. So that's a conversation we have all the time with our students, even students who come in declared. You know, they may come in and say, I'm a biology major, or I'm a nursing major. But after spending a semester in those classes, they realize, you know what, this isn't for me, and I would like to explore some other areas. So these conversations come up all the time, and there are more than enough options for students to take a class here and there to see what their interests are to help them declare a major. We certainly would want students to declare a major by the end of their sophomore year. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean Cunningham. Mrs. Asante, we're getting a couple of questions that are related, so I'm going to combine these if that would be okay. Will I be able to see my child's grades, and will I be able to see the bill directly and reach out on behalf of my student?
Great questions. So, will you be able to see the grades? Not unless you have access to the records. Please understand that this is your child. You may pay the bill, but their records are protected through the process of FERPA. It's a regulation, and their records are protected from everyone, including yourself. Whether you pay the bill, whether you claim them on your tax returns, their records are protected. So what you would need to do is you need to understand that they're going to get an e-bill notification from the bursar's office telling them that there's a bill. The student can view it, but of course they're getting a lot of emails. So you want to make sure that you get an authorized user form completed, and you can do that on the bursar's website. What that form does is that form will give you an email as an authorized user that a bill exists, and then you'll be able to sign in and pay that bill. But even as an authorized user, you are not able to call the university to find out about grades, to call the financial aid office to find out what is going on with your special circumstance or the bill, the financial aid itself. That is FERPA regulations. So in order for you to be able to contact the school on the student's behalf, you have to have the student go into their PirateNet account, click on the academics tab, and there you will see the FERPA authorization, and then they can assign you a 4-digit code so that when you call any office on campus, you should be being asked, you know, if you're asking about the student, you have to provide that 4-digit code, and then we can speak to you regarding it. So yes, that is, and just know that when the student completes the FERPA and give you access, they can give access to just bills, to just financial aid, or grades, or they can give unlimited. So just when you're talking to the student, if unlimited is what you're looking for, make sure they select unlimited. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Asante. Dean Roberts, you mentioned earlier about counseling services available on campus, and we've gotten a couple of questions on that. So could you elaborate on the services that are available, as well as mentioning what's available in terms of health services, because that question has come up from a parent also.
Okay. Yes, I can do that. As I mentioned earlier, CAPS, which is our Counseling and Psychological Services Office, they provide what will be free year-round counseling, crisis intervention, consultation, and even referral services for our students, for our enrolled students. Ultimately, CAPS's role is to provide that overall health and well-being by kind of helping our students overcome obstacles that kind of come with the transition of coming to college. You know, and sometimes those hurdles can get in the way of academic, personal, professional goals, what have you. And you know, we have a number of trained professionals within that office to sort of help assist our students in that endeavor. You know, if you go to our CAPS website, which is located on our Seton Hall University website, you know, you'll find actually a link dedicated to parents to sort of help you as parents help your students transition, you know, and be able to answer some of those questions. Because once again, this is a resource, as I said before, it's free, but it's a resource that we believe that our students should take advantage of because it will assist them in their success. Speaking in regards to health services, we have a great health services team on our campus. They are an accredited group on our campus, which is, they're, I believe, one of 5 in our state. So that they are hitting on all cylinders regarding caring for your student. They provide accessible, high quality healthcare. Our service, they provide a number of services, and I'm not going to go into the entire list, but think about the general primary care, some of their other health education, even some lab lab services they also provide. And for students and their families, they can opt into our university's health insurance, or they can use whatever insurance that you as the family may have. But whatever the decision is made, whether you're covered by the university or you're covered by your own personal insurance, your student will be accommodated when they are in need. So this is another one of those resources that, when your student is in need of assistance, health services, whether it be mental health services or not, both CAPS and health services are there and quite available. Our health services office is actually located right across the street from the main entrance of the campus. If any of you have had the opportunity to see the campus at one point or another, it's right across the street from the main entrance, and our CAPS office is located on our campus. It's actually in the same building as our freshman studies office. So once again, both very accessible to our students.
Thank you, Dean Roberts. Dr. Burnett, another question about the university's plans getting ready for the fall. Could you explain what high flex means for classes and what students can expect in terms of that?
Sure, absolutely. So as many of you know, the university moved up the start date for our classes, which will begin on August 24th, and are providing students with a choice for on-campus or remote learning. So we're also ending in-person instruction during the Thanksgiving break, and then we'll hold finals remotely. So HighFlex is really a blended approach to classroom instruction. So it ensures in-person, but also reduced density learning while offering students the option to pursue their studies remotely online if they choose to. Students who choose to study on campus will experience this in-person or remote live instruction that creates physical distancing for those who choose it. We're still working on the details for the HighFlex blended approach at this point, but we're going to take into account and consideration the students' comfort level. So meaning if they do begin with in-person classes and then choose at some point they would like to move to remote learning, we will do all that we can to help with that accommodation. So in this current process, we're also working with infrastructure accommodations that will allow us to deliver safe, high quality in-person and remote learning. So that means that we're currently modifying campus environments, including academic buildings and classrooms to support the physical distancing and also uphold the health protocols. We're also having additional technology putting into the classrooms and installed to support this teaching. And faculty are also receiving a great deal of training and provided the tools to help them ensure this high quality educational experience.
Thank you, Dr. Burnett. Dean Cunningham, looking ahead, we have a question about internships. Can you explain how a student goes about getting an internship opportunity and how does that work on our campus?
Sure. I would suggest that any conversation about an internship, about anything academic at all, about course selection, that always starts with their first year advisor. Internships are sponsored through our Career Center, but our first year advisor and also the peer advisor, the student leader, can shed a lot of light onto what an internship really is, what the expectations are, what the requirements are. Most of our peer advisors, who I consider the strongest student leaders on campus, they've had internships, 1 or 2 themselves. So they can share a lot of information with the incoming students about what an internship is. And then certainly we would connect the student to our Career Center. I really suggest that you take some time and encourage your students already to take some time to look at our Career Center website. It is very interactive. There's all the information, FAQs on there about what employers we work with, how students sign up for internships. We do expect that our students have completed 30 credits first before they go on an internship, because we want them to be acclimated to college and to take that time to become more professional, and also to work with a career advisor. The first year advisor would connect your student with a career counselor, and they could work together on on interviewing skills, on a resume writing strategies, so that when the time comes to apply for an internship, they'll be ready. So I would say, in consultation with the first year advisor, the peer advisor, and our career center, your student will be very well positioned to apply for internships after the completion of 30 credits.
Thank you, Dean Cunningham. That was really helpful. Ms. Asante, quick question about work study. My son received a work study award. What is the process for him to find a job?
Thanks, Karen. The process is simple. First, the student needs to accept the award on their award letter. Then they would just go to the Seton Hall website, shu.edu, in the search type in student employment, and just continue to review jobs. In reviewing jobs, you have to know the student status, which is the student is either going to be federal work study or departmental. So federal work study, you know that you are, because on your financial aid award letter, it said federal work study and it gave you an amount. So if you did not see federal work study on the financial aid award, that means that you're looking for a departmental job. So that's important, because when you go onto the website, if a department is only looking for federal work study students, they're going to state that. So if you don't have federal work study, you don't want to waste your time applying for that position. Another important key is that if you are looking for a job and you want on the website today, there might be 10 to 12 jobs posted. Next week, it might be 40. So you have to continually look, because departments are, they're processing for summer and they're just beginning to post for fall. So I guess the point is just to continually look for positions on the website until you see something that you like, and then you would just apply and you would interview. The students would interview virtually, most likely, and hopefully, get a job and be able to work. And also just know that work study is not deducted from your bill. We are not paying the students up front and then chasing them to work. The student is working the hours and then they're getting paid every other week. So do not deduct that from the bill.
Thank you, Javonda, very much.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Roberts, could you take this question, please? Will I be notified if my daughter is struggling in classes or in the residence halls?
Sure, I can take that for you. Short answer, no, but let me go a little bit more into that. So we encourage, and you'll hear me say that term often, we encourage you as parents to empower your students to advocate for themselves. And what we mean by that is, in a situation where your student may be struggling academically or even personally, the university will not make contact with their parents to deal with those situations. As Director Asante mentioned, FERPA regulations do protect student records, even if you are paying the bill. So your student would have to share that information with you willingly in order for you to find out about that kind of student information. But with that being said, if we do become aware of a student struggling at the university, whether it be academically or even in the residence halls for a personal reason, we will typically make contact with that student and connect them to the campus resources to sort of help them right that ship. One of the things that we talk about here at Seton Hall is developing that student. We understand that the transition into college can be difficult for some students. So a part of that development is allowing us to help shepherd that student in the right direction and provide them the supports that they need. Now, we also do champion open lines of communication. Those open lines of communication should be happening between you and your student, and those open lines of communication should also be happening between the student and our offices as well, our resources as well. In the event that your student does give you unfettered access via FERPA waiver form to their records, we will happily have those conversations, but I can speak from my personal experience. I will always try to have those conversations with the student present, because once again, we want to make sure that there's that development still occurring. So to answer your question, typically no, but if we do have those forms signed, the waiver form signs, we will at least try to bring the family into the loop in those situations.
Thanks, Dean Roberts. That's very helpful. Dr. Burnett, I have two related questions, so I'm going to give them both to you at the same time, if that's okay. First, how can I encourage my daughter to get involved on campus? And then second, can a commuter get a full college experience?
Great, thank you. As Dean Roberts said, student engagement is also a perfect way for students to also advocate for themselves. We believe here at Seton Hall that student engagement is a huge part of the student success experience, and we really want our students to have every opportunity to get involved. So, throughout the summer, we're currently working on building a robust virtual orientation experience that will complement Pirate Adventure. So this will be kind of their first step to do that. This is set to launch in the beginning of July and will go throughout the summer. And this orientation will have everything from a virtual newsletter component to online information sessions, modules, and live team events like we're doing right now. We're also coordinating with cross-campus engagement teams to populate a calendar of various outreach events so that our new students have a really great way of their introduction to Seton Hall. And as they come to campus, in August or join us in the fall, one really great way to get engaged is to work with their peer advisors. I think, as Dean Cunningham had said, their peer advisors are a great kind of first introduction to Seton Hall and to provide them with a variety of different ways to stay engaged and connected. We'll also have a comprehensive set of Welcome Week activities, which will begin from move-in on August 16th throughout the first week of classes. So one of the things that we're working on is various events, including a student involvement fair, and also other events that will reflect the high flex model. So meaning that there will be some online components as well to any in-person event. So, there's plenty of places to get involved. It's really, again, making sure that the students feel like they have the connection to Seton Hall and working with their peer advisors and the resources that we have available to do that. As we move into the fall, some of the events might look a little bit different because we are going to adhere, obviously, to state and CDC guidelines. But we want to make sure that we're providing safe environments for the students to congregate as well. And all of these events are open to students, so including commuter students. We want their experience to be just like a student that may live in the residence halls. We also have a commuter student council, which your student can be a part of, that's really dedicated to providing educational and social programs specifically for commuter students.
Thank you, Dr. Burnett. Dean Cunningham, we're switching back to academics again, so we're coming back to you. We know that students are registering for classes this week, working with you and your team. So we have two parents who are asking about the first semester of classes. Can you describe what a typical first semester class load would look like for a freshman?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. A typical freshman first semester can be between 16 and 18 credits. The first class that all of our students register for is called University Life. It's a 1-credit class that is taught by the first year advisor, and the peer advisor is present in that class also as a learning assistant. That's 1 credit. Every student who graduates from Seton Hall University will have had to take that class and pass it. It's quite likely your student will be in an English class, a math class, 2 classes, hopefully, for their major, and then another class, as I mentioned earlier, for their college core. So let's say a student is an English major. They would be in an English class, English 1, a math class, which might be a statistics class. Then they could be in a social science like psychology or sociology. They could be in a theology class perhaps, and they could be in a language. Arts and sciences students do have to complete at least 6 credits of a language at the intermediate level. So there's a mix there of the English class for the major, and then the other arts and sciences classes for the core. Now a science student, that schedule would be different. A science student will have university life, definitely. They would be in a 3-credit biology lecture, a 1-credit biology lab, a 3-credit chemistry lecture, a 1-credit chemistry lab. They would be in a 4-credit math class, and they would be in another class that's called Journey of Transformation, which is kind of a mix between philosophy and theology. And that schedule for science students, honestly, they don't have that much choice in their first semester. It's the heavy science, 4-credit math, university life, and journey. They would pick up English in the spring. So regardless of the major, there's a mix of a major course, a math course, and a university life, of course, and then a course for the college core.
Thank you, Dean Cunningham. Ms. Asante, we have a question about payment plans. Actually, a couple of questions that come in about that. Can you help explain what that is and answer a little bit more about payment plans that are available?
Of course, thank you. Payment plans are handled in-house by our bursar department. The total payments are just divided by whichever month you jump into the payment plan. Just know that the payment plan ends in October because it needs to end because in November students are registering for the spring and the spring bills are due December 22nd. So you receive a bill July 2nd, it is due August 22nd. So if today I review my financial aid award package and I'm doing an estimate of how much I believe, I can jump into a payment plan today. Then I will have 5 months to October to pay. So since today is June 23rd, the next payment will be July 2nd. So it's a little tight. Or you can just start, you get your bill July 2nd, you see what you owe, you jump into the payment plan if that's what you want to do, and just know because you're jumping in July, you have 4 payments. So you would just divide whatever that total is that you owe for the fall semester by 4 so that you're done in October. More information, details, you can see the schedule, you can see the spring schedule. It's on the bursar's website.
Thank you, Ms. Asante. Dean Roberts, we're getting a lot of questions about housing, and I know that we have an entire hour of housing coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern time for housing questions. But if you could just briefly talk about when students will receive their housing assignment, information about when they will find out move-in dates, times, if you could explain that for us.
Sure. So we are currently in the process of accepting roommate requests for our incoming students. That'll go through June 30. That'll be the last day that you'll be able to do that. So once we have gotten to that point, Housing and Residence Life staff will then begin the process of assigning students to their rooms. Your students will start to receive assignments starting next month, July. I believe the date is July 6th. And as Dean Van Norman mentioned, we will have a session today at 3 p.m. to specifically answer some more of those detailed questions. Right now, we are looking, with the start of the school year being August 24th, we're looking at our move-in week starting on the 16th of August and running through the 20th. Obviously, the reason why we are doing that is to try to keep people as physically distanced as possible, and a part of your assignments that your students will receive, they'll have an opportunity to select a day in which they'll be able to move on to campus based off what's available. But once again, your health is our priority, so we want to make sure that we can control the amount of people that come to campus and move into their rooms respectively. But the 16th to the 20th is when you can anticipate our move-in schedule to begin. And by next month, you will start to see assignments come to your students.
Thank you, Dean Roberts. We also were receiving a number of questions about health insurance, so I'm going to take a little bit of liberty here as moderator and just explain that real quickly. By law, by New Jersey state law, all of our enrolled students do have to have health insurance. So the university makes a very comprehensive health insurance plan available to all students. They are automatically enrolled in it. Students have to make an active decision each year to waive out of the insurance plan if that is what they choose to do. We strongly encourage you to do a little investigation before you automatically choose to enroll out of it, particularly if you are from out of the area. One of the reasons that you want to take the time to investigate is to make sure that before you waive the plan, make sure that the plan that you have in place of Seton Hall's plan will cover your student if they need to use it locally, whether it's at a local hospital for local services at an urgent care or for a local physician, that kind of thing. So take the time to do some comparison between the plan that the university offers and the plan that you have. If you do choose to waive the university plan, it's very simple. Your student simply logs into PirateNet, clicks on the Pirate Adventure icon, searches for health services, and then completes the waiver form. The waiver form does have to be completed every year, once every fall semester. Without the waiver form, the student is automatically enrolled in the plan. It's a good plan. It's very comprehensive. It even includes a prescription drug plan. So again, it's comprehensive. Take the time to look at what's available and compare it to what you have and make an informed decision. At health services on campus, that's available to all of our students. As Dean Roberts referred to earlier, it is a very comprehensive health services for all of our students. Health services will accept any student insurance. We accept whatever coverage or payment the insurance plan offers. We do not balance bill, so there's no reason to be concerned there. So a student does not have to have the university insurance plan in order to use health services. We welcome all of our students all the time at health services. Health services is staffed by a physician, nurse practitioner, and nurses. It is accredited by AAAHC. That we are one of only 3 colleges in the state that have that accreditation. So we strongly encourage your students to make good and full use of health services. Take the time to look at the health insurance plan. And again, if you choose to waive it, it's simply done by your student in his PirateNet portal. With that, we are at the end of our time for today. I do want to make a couple of quick announcements. Our very next session is Come to Class. It is an opportunity for you to experience a freshman class, get an idea of what your students will be experiencing in the fall in terms of attending a typical freshman class. It will be offered to you by one of our most incredible professors, Angela Weisel. And that program will be moderated by Dean Cunningham, who you met in this presentation. Dr. Weisel will also be taking your questions and sharing with you not only what a freshman class is like, but also what do our professors expect of our students and what do they expect of our parents. So I think you'll get some great insight there. And again, she'll be answering some of your questions as well. And then at 3 o'clock, as was already mentioned, we will have a panel devoted just to housing and residence life and answering more of your questions on that. Any questions that we don't get to today that were not answered, we will be preparing a full FAQ and posting that on our Return to Fall 2020 website. You can access that website very easily. Just go to the university's main webpage, shu.edu. At the very top of the page, you'll see the banner for our Return to Fall 2020. Click on that, and that will take you to all of our current updates, current information, and all of our FAQs for the different areas of the university. And we'll be answering your questions there. We'll even have a specific site set up within the next week for our incoming students. But a lot of information will be there. Check back frequently, please, because this is an evolving situation, particularly as it pertains to coronavirus and our preparations for keeping your students safe. And we'll be constantly updating that as our plans become solidified and as we get more information. So take the time to check in with us. Also, as I mentioned, all of these sessions are being recorded and we will be posting them on the parent orientation website. That website is the same one that you used to log into today's session. So please check back in a week and we will have this, this session recorded and posted there, and that'll be a handy reference for you as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're glad that you were here and we can't wait to see you and your students in the fall. Go Pirates!